Welcome to the Drowsy Science channel, and hello. We'll be seeing the Grand Canyon tonight, one of the planet's most remarkable natural wonders. It is a landscape that demonstrates the enormous influence that natural forces may have over a vast amount of time, as well as their incredible power. The scale of the world is shown when one looks across it, a reminder that the Earth is always changing and evolving. But this is not where our journey will end. We'll travel outside of Arizona to see other magnificent canyons worldwide. From the lofty Himalayan peaks to the ocean's depths, from deserts to rainforests, we'll also travel to other worlds' enormous canyons, where planetary forces have sculpted landscapes as striking as those on Earth. I encourage you to like and subscribe if you like these serene investigations, or leave a comment below. One drowsy soul at a time, it guides others to this place as well. But you just need to unwind for the time being. As we go on this incredible adventure through the Earth, let your breathing slow and your mind relax. Let's get started. Nearly 2 billion years of Earth's history may be seen in the Grand Canyon. It's frequently referred to as a natural time machine. A cross-section of Earth's history, spanning nearly 2 billion years, is visible within its walls. The canyon exposes its past in bands of colored stone, in contrast to most landscapes that conceal it beneath flora or dirt. While the deepest exposed rock falls into some of the oldest chapters of Earth's history, the higher strata record hundreds of millions of years of changing settings. Standing at the edge allows you to see time layered before your eyes, in addition to distance. Rivers that flowed long before people ever existed, deserts that turned to stone, and oceans that once swept across the landscape. Similar to the pages of an open book, scientists examined these strata. Evidence of temperatures, ecosystems, and events that changed the Earth long before the contemporary world existed is preserved in each of them. The base of the canyon has some of the world's oldest rocks. The Vishnu Basement Rocks are a deposit at the very bottom of the Grand Canyon, where ancient granite intrusions and metamorphic rocks known as schists document Earth's early past. With an estimated age of nearly 2 billion years, these rocks are not simply old, they are incredibly old. They are therefore almost half as old as our planet as a whole. Scientists may see the compacted remains of ocean crust, the deep scars from tectonic collisions that put the continents together, and the relics of long-gone mountain ranges in these strata. Touching them means coming into contact with a substance that has endured innumerable changes, heating, crushing, folding, and lifting, and is still there now. Such old rocks are rarely exposed at the surface of the Earth. Furthermore, the Grand Canyon provides one of the most striking and unclouded views of the untainted origins of the continents we currently inhabit. The canyon was first sculpted by the Colorado River millions of years ago. For millions of years, the Colorado River has been flowing through the canyon's depths. Most experts concur that the river started slicing into the Colorado Plateau at least 5 to 6 million years ago, if not earlier. However, the precise time frame is still up for debate. Gravity and flow took care of the rest once water found a way through the raised stone, gradually dissolving the weaker layers and expanding the cracks in the tougher rock. Tributaries eventually joined the main river, widening and deepening the abyss to become the enormous canyon it is today. This story's steady, continuous size is what makes it remarkable. Every cliff, torrent, and bend serves as a reminder of the silent but irresistible force of water. Even the toughest stone gives way when water and time work together endlessly, as scientists have discovered echoes of a much older landscape in the current river path. Compared to its old rocks, the canyon itself is relatively newer. The Grand Canyon is geologically young while having unfathomably old rocks. This is one of the most startling facts about the canyon. The earliest known exposed formations are around 2 billion years old. However, the rift that has been carved out of them might just be a few million years old. This indicates that the canyon is a living, breathing feature of the Earth's surface rather than a remnant fixed in time. The Colorado Plateau was uplifted by tectonic uplift, which provided the river with the severe gradient it required to cut through stone layers. In this sense, the canyon resembles an open wound in the crust of the earth, which is relatively new in relation to the age of the rocks it exposes. This provides an interesting contradiction for scientists. Ancient stones telling tales of lost planets sliced apart by ongoing processes. The canyon serves as a reminder of Earth's restless current, as well as a view into the past. Over time, strong erosion deepened the Grand Canyon. The sculpting that gave the Grand Canyon its depth and majesty was erosion. Although the Colorado River served as the main tool, numerous agents collaborated during the entire operation: gravity, ice, wind, and water. Through freezing and thawing, rain and snowmelt slowly pushed boulders apart as they flowed into crevices. The chasm was enlarged by tributary streams, which carved side canyons into the plate that resemble veins. Boulders were carried into the depths by thundering rockfalls from the cliffs, where the river crushed them into gravel and sand. Over time, even wind-borne fine particles contributed to surface deterioration. These pressures carved the canyon into a maze of valleys, cliffs, and ridges over millions of years, deepening it mile by mile. The magnitude of these interrelated processes is what makes the Grand Canyon unique, an ongoing natural erosion experiment that has shaped a stunning and scientifically significant landscape. Ancient minerals glimmer in the Vishnu schist at the bottom. The Vishnu schist is a black, crystalline rock that shines with minerals like garnet and mica, and is located deep beneath the Grand Canyon. Nearly 2 billion years ago, tectonic processes changed pre-existing stone into something new, creating these rocks under extreme heat and pressure. Tiny crystals formed in the Earth's primordial interior are visible as the minerals in the schist catch and gleam when light strikes it. Because they document events from the Archean and Proterozoic ages, when life on Earth was still microscopic and the continents were forming new forms, geologists value these rocks. Standing in front of some of the most resilient witnesses in the history of Kinetrai is what it means to meet the Vishnu schist. These rocks are physically stunning in addition to being significant from a scientific standpoint. The lighter layers above contrast with their black shine. The narrative of Earth's deep innards is maintained and shown at the base of the canyon in their shimmer. The canyon's fossils provide insight into ancient rivers, seas, and deserts. The Grand Canyon is more than just a stone structure. It also serves as a record of prehistoric life. Its walls include fossils that show ecosystems that underwent significant change over hundreds of millions of years. Marine fossils found in some layers indicate that the area was formerly covered by shallow waters that were home to trilobites, corals, and brachiopods. In others, historic riverbanks and floodplains are marked by plant impressions and footprints. Even the ripples of long-gone dunes are preserved in desert sandstones. Every fossil provides insight on previous habitats: rising and declining seas, shifting rivers, encroaching deserts, and the establishment of forests. When combined, they create a timeline of the Earth's surface changes, illustrating the emergence, development, and disappearance of ecosystems. Paleontologists view the Grand Canyon as a living repository of not only water and rock, but also of the animals and environments that previously flourished where valleys and cliffs now exist. Parts of the canyon were formerly covered with volcanic lava. The Grand Canyon has fire scars, but its sedimentary layers are what make it most famous. Fields of hardened basalt in its western reaches show where molten rock was originally splattered across the terrain by volcanic eruptions. The Colorado River was momentarily dammed when these volumes, which had occurred as recently as a few 100,000 years ago, poured into the canyon. Large lakes developed behind these natural barriers, but the river eventually forced its way through, causing them to be broken. Basalt cliffs and sporadic volcanic cones that rise above the canyon rim are still remnants of these eruptions. For geologists, these lava flows demonstrate how the canyon's surface was shaped by Earth's hot interior as much as by water and stone. They serve as a reminder that the Grand Canyon is a dynamic landscape shaped by a variety of strong forces. Sunrise and dusk reveal a variety of hues on the canyon walls. The Grand Canyon's wall-to-wall hue variation is one of its most remarkable aspects. The strata show up in vibrant red, orange, gold, and violet hues during sunrise and sunset, when light is shining at a low angle. The mineral makeup of the rocks is what gives them these hues. Darker layers absorb shadows that intensify the contrasts, limestone reflects lighter creams, and iron oxides provide reds and yellows. This effect is enhanced by the canyon's enormous expanse as rocks and ridges capture light in different ways, resulting in a shifting mosaic that varies minute by minute. According to scientists, the palette can be changed by climatic factors, dust, humidity, and even smoke from wildfires, which can occasionally give the canyon bizarre colors. As a reminder that geology is not merely old and unchanging, but rather vibrant with color, shape, and the shifting light of each day, the result is nothing short of spectacular for tourists. Clues regarding shifting prehistoric climates are preserved in the rock layers. The stone walls of the Grand Canyon are more than just strata of rock. They serve as proof of changing climates over extended periods of time. Ancient deserts with wind-piled dunes are preserved in sandstones. Shells and corals from times when the area was covered by shallow waters are preserved in limestones. Slow-moving rivers and muddy floodplains can be seen in shale formations. Scientists can reconstruct historical climates, from tropical beaches to desert interiors, by examining these rocks. These changes demonstrate how dynamic Earth has always been, with continents shifting, sea levels fluctuating, and temperatures repeatedly altering ecosystems. Thus, the canyon is more than just a striking natural setting. It is an environmental record that shows how things are always changing, sometimes dramatically. It gives scholars crucial insights into the evolution of climates and a long-term view of the trends influencing the modern world. Across Arizona, the Grand Canyon extends for hundreds of miles. The Grand Canyon is a vast expanse of land that stretches across northern Arizona for about 277 kilometers. It is more than just a deep valley. As a result, it is among the Earth's greatest continuous geological landforms, slicing across the Colorado Plateau like a time-worn scar. This distance is noteworthy because the canyon is irregular along its length. Its width, depth, and even the nature of the rock layers vary, resulting in a changing landscape of side canyons, cliffs, buttes, and mesas. The canyon exhibits unique differences at every turn, from the distant western stretches near Lake Mead to the eastern desert perspective. Because of its vast length, the climate and ecosystems vary greatly from one end to the other, with some areas having forests and others desert conditions. Traveling across a cross-section of the American Southwest is necessary to fully explore the canyon. The canyon is more than 10 meters wide at its broadest point. The Grand Canyon is renowned for its depth, but its breadth is just as astounding. In certain places, there is a gap so large that details on the other side may disappear into the horizon, since the distance between the two rims is more than 10 miles. This width fluctuates. In some locations, the canyon narrows sharply, but in others, eroding cliffs and tributary valleys enlarge the opening to a vast chasm. Because softer layers give way more readily and the canyon spreads outward, scientists attribute this variance to variations in rock types and erosion. The sheer width highlights the magnitude of the forces used to carve it for anyone standing at one rim and looking across. It is more than just a river valley. Time, gravity, and water have all combined to create this enormous panorama. The canyon plunges more than a mile deep in some places. The Grand Canyon's depth is what makes it so remarkable. The canyon floor is more than a vertical mile below the rim at its deepest points, making the plunge practically steeper than it is anywhere else on Earth. Numerous cliffs, terraces, and slopes that step downward through strata of rock have sculpted the vertical drop, which is not uniform. As hikers descend, the environment, temperature, and air density all drastically alter due to this depth. Researchers use the depth of the canyon as a record of erosion, observing that the surrounding terrain rose higher at the same time that the Colorado River dug downward due to the Colorado Plateau's uplift. The end effect is a striking chasm, whose enormity is beyond human comprehension. It can seem impossible to see the river from the rim, but for millions of years, it has been the force behind this massive excavation. On a clear day, you can view almost 90 miles from the rim. The vista extends remarkably far from the rims of the canyon. Visitors may see over 90 meters into the distance on days when the air is clean and devoid of dust or smog. This is made possible by the high altitude of the Colorado Plateau, which provides spectators with a view across a wide area. Ridges, cliffs, and mesas that appear to stack forever into the distance are visible in sunlight due to the region's clear air, especially during the cooler months. Although visibility can occasionally be obscured by wildfires, pollution, and seasonal storms, scientists observe that the dry desert climate helps maintain it. Those who witness these extended vistas find the experience to be nearly unearthly, an expansive panorama that surpasses the bounds of typical depth perception. This capacity for long-distance vision contributes to the Grand Canyon's status as one of the world's most breathtaking vistas. Weather patterns are produced by the canyon itself. Because of its size, the Grand Canyon creates regional weather systems. The deep abyss and steep sides produce temperature gradients that influence precipitation, cloud formation, and wind patterns. During the summer, abrupt thunderstorms that occur just above the cliffs and valleys can be caused by rising air currents caused by heat trapped in the canyon. Cold air frequently gathers around the river throughout the winter, causing inversions where the rim receives sunlight, but the depths are still covered in fog. These microclimates are more than just interesting phenomena. They influence ecosystems by influencing the migration of animals, the growth of plants, and the flow of water. These weather impacts are studied by scientists as illustrations of how local terrain affects climate. Visitors may experience abrupt changes in wind, cloud, or light in front of their eyes, making the rim and the river seem like completely distinct worlds. Between the rim and the river, the temperature can vary by dozens of degrees. The stark contrast in temperature between the river and the rim of the Grand Canyon is among its most remarkable features. While the interior gorge along the Colorado River can get extremely hot on summer days, often more than 30 degrees hotter, the canyon rim may be comfortably warm. The reason for this discrepancy is the height change of over a mile, which alters heat retention and air density. The deeper portions retain heat like an oven, especially when sunshine bounces off dark rock surfaces, while cooler air remains on the rim. Because a descent that starts in calm weather can suddenly transform into a battle against intense heat, this can create dangerous situations for hikers. Diverse ecosystems are also supported by the temperature gradient, with desert plants along the river replacing alpine forests at higher elevations. The Grand Canyon is a perfect laboratory for researching microclimates in action because of this disparity. Hours may pass before shadows from the rim reach the canyon floor. Unusual connections with light are created by the Grand Canyon's scale. When the sun rises above the rim in the morning, the cliff's shadows can be seen for miles across the abyss. Parts of the canyon bottom remain black long after sunrise, since it might take hours for these shadows to dissipate in some locations. It's the same in the evening, when the massive shadows formed by the rim's tall walls slowly creep down into the abyss. Researchers observed that in some places, this extended shade has an impact on temperatures, evaporation rates, and even plant development. Additionally, it adds to the canyon's dramatic aspect by revealing details in ever-changing ways through layers of light and shadow. The gradual creep of shadow down the walls serves as a reminder to those who pay close attention to the canyon's enormous vertical scale, which is measured in both stone and the flow of light through its depths. The echoes of sound go through the wide areas in an odd way. The Grand Canyon has surprising sound behavior. Long-distance sounds, such as claps, shouts, or footsteps, can reverberate off cliffs and return in odd patterns. Echoes can be heard repeatedly in some places, as though the canyon is responding. In others, sound is lost in the vastness of space, absorbed by uneven surfaces, and swallowed into stillness. The canyon is a natural laboratory for the physics of sound, according to acoustics researchers, because of its magnitude and irregular geometry, which produce unexpected effects. These characteristics can either help or hinder wildlife's ability to survive. Since both predators and prey utilize sound to communicate, tourists frequently characterize the experience as unsettling since the canyon reacts differently than other landscapes. Even the slightest sound is amplified by its acoustics, and the loudest sounds might suddenly disappear into the emptiness of the stone and the air. It's like looking over another globe at some of the rim's points. Because of its size, color, and depth, the Grand Canyon has frequently been likened to extraterrestrial environments. There are places on the rim where the vista is so vast that it defies the senses, as if you were looking across the surface of another planet. Images taken by spacecraft on Mars are reflected in the desert palette of red cliffs, whitish stone, and violet shadows. Researchers have even compared the canyon's erosional characteristics to those found on Martian chasms and valleys. The emotional impact is equally powerful for tourists. Awe and confusion are blended together, as the sheer size dwarfs the human mind's capacity to measure it intuitively. In this sense, the Grand Canyon teaches us more than just the history of the planet. It makes us question our sense of location by serving as a reminder that even familiar settings can seem foreign. Patterns concealed from the ground become visible when flying above the canyon. The Grand Canyon already looks enormous from the rim. However, a completely different viewpoint is revealed from the air. When viewed from an aircraft or helicopter, the canyon looks like a complex system of veins that emerge from the Colorado River, with tributaries and side canyons extending across the plateau like a pea tree's branches. From the ground, where rocks obscure the view of neighboring valleys, these patterns are almost impossible to understand. By mapping these systems using satellite photos and aerial surveys, scientists can uncover historic landslides, underground caverns, and erosion patterns. This bird's-eye view gives academics vital information about the canyon's past and present changes. The sight is stunning for those who are lucky enough to fly over it. The canyon's enormity was revealed. Its scope changed from overwhelming to understandable, as if the Earth were the blueprint of nature's labor. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples have inhabited the Grand Canyon. Indigenous peoples lived, hunted, farmed, and prospered among the Grand Canyon's cliffs and river basins long before it was designated as a national park or a symbol of natural wonder. Human habitation in the area dates back more than 12,000 years, according to archaeological data. By traveling with the seasons and utilizing the canyon's natural resources, these early residents adjusted to its varied conditions. In an environment of both immense opportunity and considerable challenge, ancient tools, homes, and food remnants show a lengthy history of survival and ingenuity. For many indigenous people, the canyon still holds great spiritual significance in addition to offering refuge and fertile land sections. In addition to witnessing the Grand Canyon's physical history, one must also acknowledge its human history, which spans millennia and binds the past and present in ways that persist. The canyon is revered by the Hopi as a place of origin. The Grand Canyon holds great spiritual significance for the Hopi people, who view it as more than just a natural setting. It is associated with their coming into this world, a sacred area linked to their people's beginnings and their continuing connection to the land, according to Hopi tradition. Ceremonies and stories continue to celebrate the ties between certain of the canyon's places, which are considered to be extremely significant. The canyon is more than just a geological marvel, as this viewpoint demonstrates. It is a cultural monument that has been a part of the identity and legacy of the people who have shared it for many generations. Scientists use the canyon to study time and rock. It serves as a living narrative for the Hopi, and a reminder that the significance of landscapes extends beyond their physical characteristics. Our comprehension of the canyon's significance to humanity as a whole is enhanced by these intersecting viewpoints. Deep within the canyon, the Havasupai people continue to reside. The Havasupai people's story is one of the most amazing accounts of human habitation in the Grand Canyon. The Havasupai still reside in villages deep within the canyon, in contrast to most other cultures that live on the rim or adjacent plateaus. Their residence is close to undiscovered waterfalls and lush areas fed by crystal-clear streams that flow into the Colorado River. As a reflection of their strong bond with these breathtaking turquoise rivers, the name Havasupai means people of the blue-green waters. The Havasupai have been cultivating crops, building houses, and maintaining a lifestyle that is specifically tailored to canyon life for millennia. They still reside there today, maintaining traditional customs while greeting hikers and horseback riders that enter their valley. Their continued existence shows the close bond between humans and the environments they live in, as well as the tenacity of the human spirit. A living connection between the canyon's ancient past and present is provided by the Havasupai. There are still remnants of ancient Puebloan homes in cliff walls. Traces of the ancient Puebloan people, also referred to as the original Puebloans, may be found all around the Grand Canyon. High inside the cliffs, where stone and mud buildings still cling to all coves protected from rain and weather, they erected homes. These dwellings, some of which are almost a millennium old, demonstrate an advanced level of canyon environment adaptation. The sites provided access to agricultural lands and water supplies while providing protection from flooding and attackers. Shards of pottery, tools, and food remnants discovered at these locations reveal a culture that was acutely aware of its environment. Because of the arid climate, many of these homes have survived astonishingly well, providing archaeological windows into daily life hundreds of years ago. These rock homes serve as silent reminders to contemporary onlookers that the canyon has never been just a barren area. For many generations, it has been a human landscape. Stone-etched petroglyphs tell tales from long times. In addition to natural traces, the Grand Canyon's walls also feature intentional carvings from prehistoric peoples. Throughout the canyon and its tributaries, there are petroglyphs, images carved into stone surfaces. These drawings, which date back thousands of years, feature human characters, animals, hunting scenes, and symbolic patterns that have timeless significance. Although many elements are still unknown, archaeologists interpret them as documents of communication, ritual, and life. These petroglyphs, which link contemporary populations to their predecessors, frequently have spiritual or cultural value for indigenous peoples. Petroglyphs are among the most persistent human traces on the Earth because they are permanent in stone, unlike paintings that can fade. Their existence serves as a reminder that the Grand Canyon is not just a natural wonder, but also a cultural repository, with both the natural record of time and human history literally etched into its walls. Centuries ago, Spanish explorers made the first written records of the canyon. In the 16th century, Garcia López de Cárdenas led a Spanish expedition that was the first Europeans to see the Grand Canyon. The explorers discovered the vast canyon abyss while looking for the legendary 7 cities of gold. They tried to descend, overwhelmed by its size, only to find that the descent was far larger than they had anticipated. In addition to describing the canyon's size, their written records also highlighted their incapacity to completely understand or traverse it. Although the canyon had already been inhabited by indigenous peoples for thousands of years, this encounter was the first time it was mentioned in written history. The anecdote serves as an example for historians of how even experienced explorers can be humbled by unexpected environments. The Grand Canyon seemed so impressive to those who saw it for the first time that the Spanish left in awe but were unable to cross it. Its rugged cliffs made it difficult for early American explorers to traverse. When American explorers traveling west in the 19th century first encountered the Grand Canyon, they were struck by how enormous it was. Because of the dangerous terrain and sheer rocks, attempts to cross or descend the canyon frequently failed. Long detours to locate crossing places are described in accounts from this era, with some explorers almost dying in the process. The canyon was more than just a geographical feature. It was a huge wall that made it difficult for people to cross. The canyon emphasized the untamed and unadulterated nature of the American West to early settlers and travelers. It became more accessible only later, with better equipment, routes, and mapping. These difficulties highlight how the Grand Canyon, which is now predominantly connected to tourism and recreation, was originally perceived as a harsh wilderness that required respect and prudence from anybody who ventured near its depths. In the 1800s, John Wesley Powell was the leader of a well-known river expedition. John Wesley Powell, a one-armed Civil War veteran who became a geologist and explorer, has one of the most illustrious stories in Grand Canyon history. Using wooden canoes, Powell led an expedition down the Colorado River in 1869 into the unexplored canyon, navigating rapids that had never been tried by an outsider. The trip was dangerous. Some guys gave up on the endeavor, boats were lost, and supplies ran out. Powell persisted anyway, recording the river's geography, geology, and difficulties. His journey yielded some of the first in-depth descriptions of the Grand Canyon, turning it from an uncharted barrier into a topic of public and scientific interest. Powell's reports contributed to the canyon's recognition as a location of great geological significance, and his bravery and tenacity became legendary. His name now stands for both risk and discovery and is inextricably linked to the tale of the canyon's exploration. The canyon became more widely known because of railroads. Railroads originally made the Grand Canyon accessible in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Only explorers, locals, or the most tenacious visitors had previously made the lengthy and difficult trek to the rim. Rail systems, especially the Santa Fe Railway, made it easier for tourists to get to the South Rim. As a result of this development, the canyon became a national destination, drawing visitors, researchers, and artists to appreciate its majesty. Soon after, hotels and observation decks were built, laying the groundwork for contemporary tourism in the area. People's perceptions of the canyon were altered by the railroad, which transformed it from a secluded wilderness to a well-known natural wonder that was open to the general public. The canyon's status as a cultural icon and a scientific landmark began at this point. Early in the 20th century, the canyon was designated as a national park. The Grand Canyon became one of the world's most cherished and protected landscapes when it was formally recognized as a United States national park in 1919. Years of lobbying led to the designation, including work by President Theodore Roosevelt, who referred to the canyon as a wonder that ought to be preserved for future generations. The Grand Canyon became a symbol of natural heritage and a protected wilderness when it was designated as a national park. Protection made sure that its ecosystems, cultural monuments, and geological characteristics would not be exploited or developed unchecked. Since then, the park has drawn millions of tourists from all over the world, making it one of the most popular natural destinations on the planet. Its designation as a national park shows that its scientific worth is acknowledged, as well as its significance as a shared asset that will pique everyone's interest for years to come. Over the rocks of the Grand Canyon, California condors soar. One of the last great refuges for the California condor, North America's largest flying bird, is the Grand Canyon. These amazing birds, whose wings are almost 10 feet across, soar around the walls of the canyon with ease. They use rising columns of warm air to stay in the air for hours at a time, with hardly any wind. By the late 20th century, the condor population had dropped to less than 30 individuals after being on the verge of extinction. Their populations have gradually increased as a result of an extensive conservation program that includes captive breeding and release. one of the rare locations where tourists may gaze up and observe this ancient species, a bird with a pedigree dating back millions of years, is the Grand Canyon. A condor circling over the canyon walls serves as a reminder of the tenacity of not only the natural environment, but also the animals that rely on it and the human endeavors to rescue them from the brink. Bighorn sheep in the desert are adept at negotiating the rough terrain. The desert bighorn sheep is one of the few animals that exhibit such remarkable adaptation to the vertical world of the Grand Canyon. With incredible agility, these sure-footed creatures traverse the canyon's ledges and cliffs, where even one mistake could spell disaster. With rough soles that grip rocky ground like natural climbing shoes, their hooves are specially made for this lifestyle. The sheep withdraw to heights where few can follow them, using the steep terrain as cover from predators. These animals have been hunted and revered by indigenous peoples for centuries, and their existence still shapes the ecosystem of the canyon today. Another indicator species is the bighorned sheep. The condition of the canyon's vegetation and water supplies is reflected in their survival. Their elegant ascent of nearly vertical slopes provides a living example of evolution at work. A reminder that even in the harshest conditions, there are niches where life not only endures but flourishes with amazing grace. At night, feral cats prowl the canyon. Despite its name, the ringtail cat is actually a small nocturnal relative of the raccoon rather than a cat. Under the cover of darkness, these secretive creatures explore the Grand Canyon. Though hardly observed by tourists, they leave behind signs of their existence in calls and trails. Ringtails have long, striped tails and big, glowing eyes, making them ideal for nighttime hunting. In pursuit of food, rodents, and insects, they ascend canyon walls and maneuver around cliffs. Ringtails have a long history with humans, since indigenous peoples used to tame them as companions to keep food stockpiles pest-free. They are still covert inhabitants of the canyon's ecosystems today, contributing to the equilibrium of lesser animal and insect species. It is a unique gift to see one dashing down the rocks in the starlight. The ringtail is an essential component of the canyon's nocturnal ecosystem, despite being overshadowed by more famous species. It serves as a reminder of the unseen animals that flourish when we are asleep. Hidden springs are home to rare endangered snails. Tiny freshwater snails are among the Grand Canyon's most unexpected residents. Many of them are unique to Earth. These fragile animals cling to water plants or the undersides of rocks while living in solitary springs and seeps scattered around the canyon walls. Since every spring serves as a small home, species have developed independently, giving rise to distinct lineages with incredibly constrained geographic limits. They are susceptible to habitat disturbance, groundwater use, and climate change because their survival depends only on the persistence of these hidden water sources. Because of their fragility, which reflects the stability of their surroundings, scientists investigate these snails as markers of ecological health. They are just as much a part of the canyon drama as condors or bighorn sheep, despite their diminutive size and ease of overlooking. A record of their survival in the face of adversity can be found in their tiny shells. Conducted in the canyon's most serene areas. The ecosystems of the canyon include pine forests and desert cacti. Although it encompasses several ecosystems, the Grand Canyon is sometimes pictured as a single arid environment. Ponderosa pine, aspen, and spruce woods are supported by cool weather along the rim. Cacti, creosote plants, and desert shrubs can be found in the sweltering inner canyon, which is just a mile below. The canyon's elevation fluctuations replicate the climate variation you would experience while traveling from Canada to Mexico. A remarkable variety of plants and animals may coexist in a comparatively small space thanks to this vertical diversity. The Grand Canyon serves as a natural laboratory for scientists, demonstrating how life is shaped by altitude and environment. Hiking from rim to river is like passing through completely separate worlds for tourists. Similar to how the rocks in the canyon are stacked throughout time, each zone has its own rhythms and communities, demonstrating how ecosystems are stratified vertically. The vegetation on the riverbanks is very different from that on the rim. Plant life in the Grand Canyon exhibits striking differences due to its tremendous elevation decrease. Like woodlands found further to the north, pine, juniper, and oak forests predominate along the rim due to lower temperatures and more rainfall. But as you descend into the river, the landscape changes to one of arid flora, with willows embracing the water's edge, spiky cactus, and sturdy mesquite. There are transitional zones in between, each with its own plant communities, ranging from grasses and shrubs to wildflowers that blossom in response to seasonal rainfall. These stark variations arise because the environment changes significantly with each 1,000 feet of elevation. As a result, one of the most abundant plant mosaics in North America is created, a stacked series of ecosystems that are all unique yet related. While trekkers see the canyon as a live example of natural diversity condensed into one, scientists utilize it to study how plants adapt to different circumstances in close proximity. Scenery. Special species flourish in remote slot canyons. There are hundreds of smaller tributaries and side canyons that form their own worlds beyond the Grand Canyon's main chasm. Many of these locations have springs, shady areas, and distinct microclimates that support uncommon or non-existent plants and animals. Side canyons are hotspots of biodiversity because isolation enables species to evolve and persist in small, specialized populations. Some are home to relict species, which are plants that were formerly common but now only exist in protected areas. Some sustain fish, insects, or amphibians, whose whole populations are restricted to a single canyon branch. These side canyons are essential to the scientists' comprehension of how isolation affects survival and evolution. They are mysterious locations that are off the beaten path for adventurers. Entering one is like entering a little habitat, where life survives on the thin edges of shade and water in the middle of the wide desert. Many deer and elk roam the wooded edges. The Grand Canyon's upper altitudes along its rims maintain vast forests, which are home to huge species like mule deer and elk, despite the scorching and arid depths. They frequently show up at dawn or dusk to feed in meadows or close to water sources, where they graze on grasses, bushes, and tree buds. Particularly prevalent in the south rim are mule deer, which are easily identified by their big ears. Larger and more formidable elk flourish in the colder woodlands of the north. In addition to influencing plant ecosystems and acting as prey for predators like mountain lions, both species have significant ecological responsibilities. Additionally, their existence connects the canyon to larger ecosystems throughout the Colorado Plateau. Visitors can relate the untamed environment of the canyon to the life rhythms of animals that have wandered these highlands for innumerable centuries by witnessing an elk emerge from the trees or a young deer paw at the rim. Warm rocks provide a haven for vibrantly colored lizards. Lizards are seen all around the Grand Canyon, darting across rocks and pathways. They are a recognizable sight because of their rapid motions and vibrant colors. Species such as the collared lizard exhibit vivid turquoise, green, and yellow colors, which are particularly noticeable during territorial defense by males. Others, like side-blotched lizards and whiptails, exploit camouflage and speed to avoid predators. The rough environment of the canyon is ideal for these reptiles. Their small size and agility allow them to sneak into cracks to escape danger or control temperature, and their cold-blooded constitution allows them to subsist on heat absorbed from sun-baked stones. Because they eat insects and subsequently become prey for birds, snakes, and mammals, lizards play an important role in the canyon's food chain. Their diversity and abundance demonstrate how well even tiny organisms can adapt to harsh environments. It is a little representation of the canyon's combination of beauty and resiliency to watch one bask still on a flaming red rock. From pools in a shaded cave little frogs call. There are shady grottos and springs where little frogs live tucked away among the Grand Canyon's tangle of cliffs and side canyons. These microhabitats provide oases where amphibians can live all year round, in contrast to the dry cliffs above. The canyon tree frog, which clings to rocks close to streams and waterfalls, is one noteworthy species. Their harsh staccato yells reverberate against the stone on summer evenings, which is a surprising sound in such a parched setting. There is more to these frogs than meets the eye. They serve as ecological markers. The existence of amphibians indicates the health of delicate aquatic ecosystems because they are extremely sensitive to temperature and water quality. Hikers who stumble upon them may experience a sense of enchantment, an unexpected influx of life in a desolate environment. These frogs serve as a reminder that the canyon is home to fragile life forms that endure despite all obstacles, in addition to being a place of stone and quiet. At the center of the canyon is the Colorado River. The Colorado River, the restless force that sculpted a large portion of the current abyss, is located at the heart of the Grand Canyon, flowing from the Rocky Mountains to the Gulf of California for over 1,000 kilometers. The river flows for around 300 meters through the canyon. It continues to deepen and sculpt the gorge as it passes towering cliffs and slices through old rock. The river's strength is derived from both its water and the silt it transports. Boulders, sand, and gravel cause the canyon to deepen with each flood and surge. The river has historically provided food and spiritual significance to indigenous peoples. It continues to serve as a case study for scientists studying the gradual but relentless force of erosion. Standing next to it is like witnessing the canyon's live heart, constantly reshaping the terrain. Among the most severe in North America are river rapids. Whitewater rapids in the Grand Canyon are some of the most difficult in the world, and the Colorado River is well known for them. With waves and drops strong enough to challenge even the most seasoned rafters, rapids like Lava Falls, Crystal, and Horn Creek are renowned among rafters. Rapids are created when a river is constrained by boulders, landslides, or resistive rock layers, which causes water to turbulence and produces standing waves that can reach the height of a person. The most intense rapids in the Grand Canyon receive the highest numbers on a special scale that ranges from 1 to 10. Rapids show scientists how rivers change their shape in response to rockfalls and floods, interacting with geology in real time. The experience is remarkable for those who dare to traverse them. An up-close look at unadulterated natural power against the backdrop of some of the most breathtaking scenery on the planet. Expeditions, including rafting, can take weeks to finish. The Grand Canyon is a long journey to traverse by raft. It can take more than 2 weeks to complete an excursion that travels the whole river through the canyon. Rafters camp on shifting sandbars, negotiate dozens of rapids, and explore side canyons that are only reachable by water. The trip is intensely absorbing and physically taxing. The river becomes a universe unto itself without roads or convenient exits, isolated from the noise and distractions of contemporary life. Long river expeditions are also taken by scientists to gain first-hand knowledge about geology, hydrology, and ecosystems. Short trips to the rim cannot provide the insights that these treks do. The journey's length, which necessitates adjusting to the canyons and rivers' rhythms, is what transforms many people. It serves as a reminder that some landscapes require patience, time, and constant observation to fully comprehend. Throughout history, the river has undergone numerous course changes. The Colorado River, as it exists today, is merely the most recent development in a lengthy tale of changing routes. The river has undergone numerous route changes over millions of years due to volcanic activity, landslides, and tectonic uplift. The canyon and adjoining plateau are replete with evidence of abandoned channels that are rich in sediments and fossils. These changes demonstrate the landscape's dynamic nature, as water continuously searches for new routes in the rock. In many instances, landslides or lava flows temporarily dammed the river, forming enormous lakes that later emptied. In some places, the river had to cut deeper due to uplift, leaving older valleys behind. To recreate the geological history of the canyon, geologists must examine these paleochannels. It serves as a sobering reminder to tourists that the canyon we currently admire is temporary. Since the river is still changing, its path in the far future can alter greatly from what it is today. Upstream dams have changed the ecology of rivers and the flow of silt. The Colorado River has been altered by modern engineering, especially with the building of Glen Canyon Dam upstream of the Grand Canyon. Large volumes of silt that would naturally replenish beaches and sandbars downstream are trapped by the dam, which was finished in the 1960s. Fish, plant, and animal habitats have changed as a result of the river through the canyon becoming cleaner but less active. Decreases in native species that relied on seasonal floods and shifting sediment have been noted by scientists. As a result, the dam has periodically released controlled floods to replicate natural circumstances, spreading sand and restoring riverbanks. The intricate connection between natural landscapes and human infrastructure is brought to light by these investigations. The dam illustrates the effects of changing the canyon's main rivers, as well as the inventiveness involved. Its effects serve as a tangible illustration of how contemporary decisions continue to influence even the oldest and most recognizable landscapes. The river used to be completely blocked by old lava dams. Nature created its own barriers long before man-made dams changed the Colorado River. Giant lava flows from volcanic eruptions west of the Grand Canyon poured into the gorge, where they cooled and solidified into giant natural dams. These structures occasionally blocked the river entirely, forming makeshift lakes that extended for kilometers upstream. Some of these massive dams were hundreds of feet high, according to geological data. The river eventually eroded through them or overtopped them, causing devastating floods that changed the form of the canyon bottom. These occurrences left behind gravel and basalt deposits that are still studyable today. The geologist's account of the lava dams demonstrates the canyon's violent and dynamic past, formed by fire in addition to water. Landscapes that still show the wounds of those historic dramatic encounters were formed by the interaction of rivers and lava. There are fish in the river that are unique to the planet. Numerous fish species that are completely unique to this system and found nowhere else in the world can be found in the waters of the Colorado River. These include the razorback sucker and the humpback chub, both adjusted to the formerly tumultuous symontic habitat of the river. These fish are particularly susceptible to changes brought about by dams and habitat loss because they developed in environments that differ greatly from the controlled flows of today. The goal of conservation initiatives in the Grand Canyon is to preserve these endangered species through methods such as population monitoring and controlled flooding to restore natural habitats. One particular representation of this fight is the humpback chub, which has a characteristically bent back, surviving in isolated tributaries where the environment is still conducive. These fish serve as a reminder that the river is a cradle of life-supporting organisms as distinct and priceless as the canyon itself, in addition to being a sculptor of stone. The canyon's shape is still being shaped by floods. The Grand Canyon is not fixed, even though it looks ancient. Its features are still being carved and reshaped by seasonal floods brought on by snowmelt or intense rains. The Colorado River's surges scrape beaches, modify channels, and move rocks, changing the landscape in subtle yet spectacular ways. Along the river's path, terraces and sediment layers bear the scars of previous floods. These records are used by researchers to examine the effects of extreme occurrences on biological systems, sediment movement, and erosion. Floods are both damaging and rejuvenating for plants and fauna, removing old vegetation and laying down new nutrients. Even while dams have made natural floods less frequent, their effects are replicated by sporadic discharges. These forces serve as a reminder that the Grand Canyon is dynamic and always changing due to the flow of water. The force of the river still chisels new chapters into the stone now. With every season, beaches and sandbars appear and disappear. As the Colorado River flows through the Grand Canyon, it constantly reshapes beaches and sandbars. The fine sediment that the river carries and deposits in eddies, coves, and side channels is what creates these characteristics. They are eroded, rebuilt, and relocated over time. These sandbars are essential camping locations for rafters. For scientists, however, they serve as markers of how the sediment load in the river varies with flow conditions. Beaches were restocked by floods prior to upstream dams. Of course, however, many have diminished nowadays. Sandbars can be restored, providing wildlife habitats and safe areas for enjoyment, as demonstrated by experimental floods discharged from Glen Canyon Dam. This continuous cycle demonstrates how rivers are dynamic, ever-changing systems. Sandbars and beaches in the Grand Canyon serve as a reminder that even seemingly insignificant features are a part of a bigger living process that changes every year due to interactions between sediment and water. Along the banks of the river, secret caverns are formed. Numerous caverns, alcoves, and overhangs have been sculpted by water erosion along the Colorado River's banks, in addition to the canyon itself. These caverns are created when floods and currents take advantage of flaws in the rock to hollow out protected areas. While some maintain archaeological evidence of former human use, such as fire pits and objects left behind millennia ago, others act as wildlife resting grounds. While biologists investigate these caves as distinct microhabitats, geologists study them to learn about the river's historical flow patterns. Finding a hidden cave can be likened to stumbling into a different universe for raft adventurers. Tucked away among the flaming stone walls was a cool, shaded haven. These caverns serve as a reminder that erosion affects both fine features and expansive areas. The river's silent perseverance in altering the canyon is demonstrated by each hollow. At a Picho moment, one pocket of stone at a time. The exact formation date of the canyon is still up for debate among geologists. Although the Grand Canyon appears ageless, geologists are still debating when it first started to take shape. According to some evidence, the current canyon was created when the Colorado River set its current route, some 6 million years ago. According to other research, the canyon's formation may have started considerably earlier, with ancient streams slicing through portions as early as 70 million years ago. Conflicting chronologies have been provided by thermochronology, which gauges how quickly rocks cool as they approach the surface, indicating that some areas are significantly older than others. According to the current theory, the canyon most likely developed in sections with earlier valleys that the Colorado River subsequently connected to form a continuous chasm. Even well-known sites have secrets, as this continuing controversy demonstrates. It is still difficult for geologists to put together the canyon's whole history, because it was not created in a single event, but rather as a result of intricate geological processes that took place over a very long period of time. The Grand Canyon serves as a climate change natural laboratory. The Grand Canyon is a natural laboratory for researching climate change because of its vast vertical range and extensive geological record. Scientists can see how Earth's atmosphere and ecosystems changed over hundreds of millions of years, thanks to the rock strata that preserve evidence of past climates, from shallow seas to desert sand dunes. Within the canyon itself, variations in the current climate are also readily apparent. Hikers can encounter environments akin to those on other continents within a few miles, ranging from blazing desert close to the river to alpine woods on the rim. To learn how ecosystems react to variations in temperature and precipitation, researchers examine these gradients. Chemical hints concerning previous cycles of rainfall and drought can also be found in springs, caverns, and sediments. Scientists can forecast how ecosystems could react to current global change by comparing historical climatic shifts with contemporary trends using these indicators. Scientists use cosmic rays to date exposed rock. Cosmic rays, which are high-energy space particles that continuously strike Earth, are one of the novel techniques used to examine the Grand Canyon. These rays produce rare isotopes that build up over time when they come into contact with specific minerals in exposed rocks. Scientists can determine how long rock surfaces have been exposed to air and sunlight by detecting these isotopes. Cosmogenic nuclide dating is a method used to establish when landslides and rockfalls happened in the Grand Canyon, or when erosion removed underlying layers. Cosmic ray dating has shed light on the ages at which cliff faces were exposed and the timing of river incision. In contrast to conventional fossil-based dating, this approach is especially helpful for bare surfaces with few other hints. It draws attention to the state-of-the-art research being conducted in the canyon, which uses deep space particles to shed light on the terrestrial processes that sculpted one of the most magnificent landscapes on Earth. Ancient trilobites, reptiles, and ferns are examples of fossils. Fossils of many ancient life types can be found among the stratified rocks of the Grand Canyon. Trilobites, marine arthropods that flourished in the oceans of Earth around 500 million years ago, can be found in the oldest layers. The spread of vegetation across the area is visible higher up in the form of primitive plants and petrified ferns. The bones and footprints of early reptiles in even younger layers demonstrate how life adapted to flood plains and deserts. There is more to these fossils than meets the eye. They offer vital proof of the evolution of life across various environments and climates. In order to create a global chronology of Earth's history, they also assist scientists in matching rock layers in the canyon with those discovered elsewhere. Visitors are further awed by the thought that the canyon walls were once home to marshes, oceans, and reptilian explorers. The canyon is a monument to the history of life itself, as much as a record of stone. Scientists can observe erosion in action because of the canyon. The Grand Canyon offers an active laboratory for studying erosion in real time, even as it displays the process on a geological scale. Its cliffs and valleys are continually being reshaped annually by landslides, rockfalls, flash floods, and sediment movement. To measure changes in the canyon, scientists use satellite imagery, install sensors, and track river sediment loads. Researchers can also examine how changing water flow impacts erosion rates because dams partially regulate the Colorado River. Because of the canyon's scale, it is particularly useful for comprehending how rivers erode rock, how slopes give way, and how landscapes change under the influence of various forces. Scientists can more accurately assess the rates of geological change by contrasting the historical record of erosion preserved in stone with the current erosion. The Grand Canyon is more than a historical artifact. We can still learn about the carving and reshaping of landscapes from this living system. Its walls contain quantities of rare minerals, unusual mineral formations that are concealed among the strata of the Grand Canyon are of interest to both scientists and collectors. Rare azurite and malachite crystals that create eye-catching blue and green patterns in limestone are among them. Over the years, the discovery of uranium resources has sparked interest in mining as well as environmental concerns. Deep-down heat and pressure caused some minerals to crystallize, while groundwater flowing through fissures created others. Information about the canyon's geological and chemical past is preserved in each deposit. These minerals are still being researched for their scientific significance, despite the fact that mining has been severely limited to preserve the park. They emphasize that the canyon's importance lies in both its vast scope and the complex chemistry preserved in its rocks. Echoes of processes that shape the Earth deep under the surface can be found in even the tiniest veins of mineral color. The landscape is constantly changing due to landslides and rockfalls. Despite its seemingly endless appearance, the Grand Canyon's walls are always changing. Along the cliffs, landslides and rockfalls are frequently caused by weathering, rain, or freeze-thaw cycles. Some are tiny, causing sand and stones to fall. Others are enormous occurrences in which whole cliff faces plunge into the abyss. These rockfalls play a major role in the canyon's expansion and modification over generations. Seismometers, remote sensors, and field research are used by scientists to monitor these occurrences in order to both understand geological processes and protect tourists. Deformed rock strata and boulder piles strewn along the river corridor are signs of past landslides. These collapses serve as a reminder that erosion can occur suddenly and dramatically in addition to gradually. The Grand Canyon is a dynamic landscape where stone keeps shifting, eroding, and reforming, giving new intricacies to its already intricate shape. It is by no means a static monument. Ancient ocean layers are preserved in the canyon. The remains of prehistoric oceans that formerly covered the area are among the canyon's most intriguing records. Throughout hundreds of millions of years, shallow oceans repeatedly moved across the land, advancing and retreating, as evidenced by limestone formations containing marine fossils. The story of long-gone marine ecosystems is preserved in stone in the form of coral reefs, shell beds, and remnants of marine life. Each ocean left behind unique sediments, including shells from muddy seafloors, sandstones from beach habitats, and fine limestones from calm waters. Geologists can track variations in the global climate and cycles of sea level rise and decrease by stacking these layers together. The fact that the arid cliffs of today were once submerged environments teeming with vibrant life is startling to tourists. In addition to preserving Earth's geological structure, the Grand Canyon also captures the oceanic rhythms that repeatedly sculpt the planet's surface. Ripples from beaches millions of years ago can be seen on some rocks. Delicate ripple lines etched into the stone can be seen if you examine specific levels of the Grand Canyon closely. Waves and currents along historic shorelines formerly produced these patterns, which have been preserved in time. These ripples were preserved as organic imprints by the sandstone formed over millions of years by shifting seas. Touching them is like making a direct connection to the beach's surface from hundreds of millions of years ago. Scientists can learn about former habitats, sea depth, current direction, and even the energy of ancient waves from these characteristics. It is astounding how these minute details manage to endure within the canyon's walls, despite massive geological upheavals. They serve as a reminder that geology encompasses not just enormous time spans and towering cliffs, but also the smallest elements that have been preserved. Remnants of silent waves that swept past deserted beaches. There used to be inland seas in the canyon that were filled with life. The Grand Canyon's rock layers document whole inland seas that formerly encased large swaths of North America, in addition to specific shorelines. The area had warm, shallow seas during the Paleozoic era, which supported coral, brachiopod, trilobite, and other marine life habitats. As the world's water levels fluctuated, these seas came and departed, leaving behind vast limestone deposits and strata rich in fossils. Scientists view these rocks as proof of changes at the continental scale that correspond to the rise and fall of oceans caused by glacial cycles and plate tectonics. It is astounding to visitors to the canyon to think that tropical aquatic life formerly inhabited the barren terrain that we see now. What would eventually become one of the driest and most dramatic environments on Earth was filled with inland seas that reached to the horizon. But the canyon walls preserve the memory of these lost worlds. Hiking from the rim to the river takes you across different climate zones. There is more to the descent from the Grand Canyon's rim to the river than a simple decrease in altitude. It is comparable to hiking across continents. The environment drastically changes within a few miles. The rim is covered with chilly pine and fir forests that resemble the northern Rockies highlands. The blazing inner canyon, a mile below, is reminiscent of the Mexican deserts. The top and bottom temperatures can differ by almost 30 degrees, and the vegetation varies with each zone. Scientists utilize it as a living example of how altitude affects ecosystems, while hikers feel it firsthand as they shed layers of clothing throughout their descent. Thousands of miles of climate variability are compressed into one location by the canyon's precipitous descent. It serves as a striking reminder of Earth's complexity to people who travel there. A journey via several settings carved into one chasm. For generations, people have been using the Bright Angel Trail. With a centuries-long history, the Bright Angel Trail is currently one of the most well-traveled paths into the Grand Canyon. Indigenous peoples first used it as a route, depending on it for seasonal travel, access to hunting grounds, and water sources. The track was taken up and developed by settlers and explorers, and it eventually became a popular tourist route. In the late 19th century, mule trains started using it to transport supplies and tourists, solidifying its position as the canyon's major thoroughfare. Today, the Bright Angel Trail descends through layers of exposed rock to provide a direct route from the south rim to the Colorado River. Every step down reveals new geological formations, making it a living timeline for both hikers and scientists. Its continued use demonstrates how man-made paths can coexist with natural elements, bridging generations across the canyon's vast history. A historic way to descend the canyon is by mule ride. Mule rides have provided tourists with a unique means of accessing the Grand Canyon's interior for over a century. These rides, which blended history and functionality, were first introduced in the late 1800s and soon gained popularity. Because of their endurance and sure-footed steadiness, mules are perfect for tackling steep slopes where horses would trip. Passengers are carried down tight ledges with dangerous drops only feet away, making the experience of riding one down the canyon both exhilarating and humbling. The custom also has roots in the canyon's past, when mail and supplies were transported between the rim and the river using mules. New rides, which provide a gentler, more personal approach to feeling the canyon's immensity, continue to be a symbol of its cultural legacy today. They serve as a reminder that people have always looked for innovative ways to traverse difficult terrain, depending on reliable allies to guide us safely into the depths. Occasionally, adventurers try to walk across the canyon in a single day. Some adventurers try to accomplish the difficult task of crossing the Grand Canyon from rim to rim in a single day. Over 20 meters are covered in the trip, which includes a more than mile-long vertical plunge and a comparable rise. It puts one's fortitude, readiness, and ability to withstand heat, dehydration, and exhaustion to the test. Trained athletes and seasoned hikers take on the task, frequently starting in the pre-dawn darkness to avoid harsh temperatures, even though park officials advise most visitors against making such endeavors. These efforts serve as a reminder to rangers and scientists of the canyon's harsh character, as well as the human desire to test boundaries. The canyon's wide scope is condensed into a single, remarkable endeavor by crossing it in a single day, highlighting how expansive and difficult the terrain is in reality. There aren't many locations on Earth that present such a stark contrast between the majesty of nature and human limitations. The canyon has been run from rim to rim by extreme athletes. Elite endurance athletes have pushed the Grand Canyon's challenge beyond hiking by setting records for running from rim to rim. These ultramarathon endeavors, also referred to as rim-to-rim or even rim-to-rim-to-rim runs, span more than 40 miles when run round-trip. Runners frequently finish the trip in less than a day, despite the intense heat, steep climbs, and abrupt elevation changes. Such runs need exceptional mental toughness, physical conditioning, and careful hydration and nutrition planning. Even though most tourists can't accomplish these feats, they demonstrate the canyon's dual significance as a scientific marvel and a test of human fortitude. Some scientists see these runs as evidence of the canyon's timeless capacity to evoke wonder and challenge, while others observe that they offer valuable information on human physiology under harsh circumstances. In this way, the Grand Canyon becomes a test of the human soul as much as a geological wonder. Rapids with famous names are encountered during rafting adventures. The names of the Colorado River's rapids in the Grand Canyon are legendary to rafters. Granite, hermit, crystal, and lava falls are a few examples. Their stories, which are frequently connected to the explorers who first traversed them, are reflected in their names, in addition to their strength. Because of the velocity of the river itself, fallen boulders, and underlying geology, each rapid is unique. Rafters assess paths and get ready for the roaring waves of the greatest rapids, waiting for them to arrive. While travelers see these rapids as first-hand experiences of unadulterated energy, scientists study them to learn how river dynamics react to floods and landslides. The names reverberate in rafting lore, signifying both achievement and difficulty. These rapids serve as enduring landmarks for those who make the voyage, symbols of bravery, tenacity, and reverence for the river's wild power. The enormity of the canyon is revealed during helicopter flights. Although the views from the rim are stunning, a helicopter view over the Grand Canyon offers a whole different viewpoint. The canyon's extensive network of cliffs, mesas, and side valleys appears as a living map when viewed from above. Erosion patterns emerge, demonstrating how subsidiary valleys contribute to the main gorge. The cliffs above dwarf the river, which itself seems like a narrow ribbon meandering through the depths. Aerial surveys give scientists vital information on vegetation cover, erosion patterns, and geological formations. A direct encounter with the canyon's enormity, rendered evident in a manner not conceivable from the ground, can be an overpowering experience for tourists. Helicopter rides highlight the canyon's intricacy and majesty, demonstrating how each valley and ridge adds to the overall structure. The canyon is not just huge, as the aerial picture demonstrates. It is exquisitely and meticulously built. The canyon's caverns conceal enigmatic passageways. There are over 1,000 known caverns, many of which have not yet been explored, dotted around the walls of the Grand Canyon. These caverns were created by a number of mechanisms, including groundwater erosion, overhang collapse, and acidic water-dissolving limestone. Some are tiny alcoves, while others form shadow labyrinths that reach deep into the rock. According to archaeological evidence, some caverns were utilized by ancient peoples for storage and refuge, leaving behind objects that are still in use today. Others have fossils of birds and ground sloths that used to wander the canyon. Because they preserve information on former temperatures, ecosystems, and geological processes, these caves serve as natural laboratories for scientists. They continue to be mysterious locations for explorers, with numerous passageways still unexplored. Every cave represents a little-known aspect of the canyon's history, serving as a reminder that despite its extensive research, there are still a ton of undiscovered mysteries. Secret waterfalls flow into a hidden grotto. Hidden waterfalls cascade into a shady grotto beyond the canyon's prominent views, bringing life and water to an otherwise dry area. Some are well known for their turquoise waters that cascade into travertine pools, such as Havasu Falls. Others are hidden in side canyons that are only reachable by people who stray from the main routes. Frequently, springs that allow groundwater to percolate through rock layers and abruptly surface into the open are the source of these waterfalls. Willows, cottonwoods, mosses, ferns, and other luxuriant vegetation that would never make it through the canyon's arid cliffs flourish around them. These grottos provide cool relief from the heat and act as wildlife havens. They seem like secret worlds to tourists who find them unforeseen oases of beauty in the desert. They are studied by scientists to learn about biodiversity and hydrology in delicate habitats. They show that water can produce areas of wonder and plenty, even in the most hostile environments. A nighttime exploration of the canyon displays a starry sky. The Grand Canyon opens up as a portal into the cosmos at night. Its skies, which are among the darkest in North America and far from city lights, provide breathtaking vistas of the Milky Way stretching across the horizon. Meteors, planets, and constellations gleam with a clarity that is uncommon in modern times. Under the stars, the canyon itself changes, its sides going dark and the sky taking center stage. The region is perfect for scientists researching nighttime ecosystems, light pollution, and astronomy. The experience can be significant for visitors, bridging the gap between the immensity of space above and the expanse of Earth's geology. Indigenous peoples have long used the night sky as part of their rituals, associating stories and guidance with celestial patterns. Not only is the canyon a geological wonder, but it also feels like a part of a wider cosmic stage where Earth and sky meet in calm splendor when one stands on the rim beneath the stars. The remains of prehistoric animals, such as sloths, can be found in several caves. Scientists have discovered amazing fossils of animals that previously roamed the Grand Canyon's numerous caverns. The remains of enormous herbivores, known as gigantic ground sloths, which lived during the ice period, are among the most unexpected. In protected tunnels, these animals, some bigger than contemporary bears, left behind claw prints, feces, and bones. Other caves capture glimpses of ecosystems that existed thousands of years ago by preserving remains of extinct birds, rodents, and reptiles. Many caves serve as natural time capsules, storing organic material that would have decomposed elsewhere since they are protected and dry. These findings provide paleontologists with important new information on how the region's wildlife was influenced by human habitation and climate change. Visitors are humbled and inspired by the thought that huge sloths formerly roamed the same rocks that condors now see. The canyon serves as a record of extinct giants in addition to geology. Some side canyons are swept by strange wind currents. Unusual wind patterns are a result of the Grand Canyon's complicated terrain. As funnels, narrow side canyons speed up air currents and produce strong gusts that might catch rafters or hikers off guard. The wind roars steadily in some places and swirls erratically in others, rebounding off cliffs and forming little whirlwinds. These wind systems have an impact on everything from erosion to plant growth, according to scientists who research microclimates. Birds also take advantage of them, effortlessly flying above the cliffs on the updrafts. The winds can feel alive to people who are inside the canyon. Unexpected bursts of air can rise like unseen rivers from the depths or swirl past corners. These air currents are a significant ecological force since they also carry seeds, pollen, and even insects. The winds in the canyon serve as a reminder that its atmosphere is just as dynamic as its water and rocks, continuously reshaping, linking, and reshaping life over its enormous expanses. Footprints from fossils depict animals moving sideways. Tracks made by extinct reptiles over 300 million years ago are among the most fascinating fossils found in the canyon. These footprints, preserved on slabs of sandstone, show a curious detail. In contrast to modern species, the creatures appear to move with a gait and walk sideways. These animals, according to scientists, were primitive amphibians or reptiles that could move through shifting sand dunes. They might have been able to stabilize on uneven or steep terrain thanks to their peculiar movement. There is more to these fossilized traces than meets the eye. They are among the first indications of sophisticated land-dwelling animals in North America. Individual toe impressions that were frozen in stone long before the canyon existed can still be visible because of how precisely they have been preserved. They provide paleontologists with unique hints regarding early creatures' adaptability and means of mobility. The knowledge that living things once walked here and left their imprints on the old dunes is a potent link to the past for anybody who sees them. There are around 1,000 known caverns in the canyon. The Grand Canyon is full of secret places, even though most tourists concentrate on the expansive views. Its walls are home to more than 1,000 known caverns, although estimates indicate there may be many more. Some of these caverns reach deep into the geological layers, while others are shallow alcoves or winding passageways. Every cave is formed differently. Some are carved by the dissolution of limestone by groundwater, while others are formed by collapses along joints and faults. Numerous areas are yet uncharted, providing prospects for upcoming geological, archaeological, and biological discoveries. Bats, birds, and insects find refuge in caves, which also retain fossils and relics from earlier eras and civilizations. They serve as natural archives for scientists, holding records of previous vegetation, rainfall, and even meteorological conditions. The complexity of the canyon is shown by the vast amount of caverns. It is a maze of secret passageways within the stone, in addition to a large, open chasm. The caves have only been partially investigated. Only a small portion of the Grand Canyon's more than 1,000 known caverns have been thoroughly investigated. Many are still inaccessible, hiding behind hazardous rockfalls or perched on steep cliffs. Others are just too far away, taking days to get there by boat or foot. Some of those surveyed have archaeological artifacts such as tools, ceramics, and old shelters. Others contain mineral formations or fossils that provide information about historical climates and habitats. Because even minor perturbations can destroy important evidence, scientists and cavers carefully restrict excavation to preserve delicate ecosystems and cultural legacy. As a result, most of the canyon's caverns are still a mystery, and their contents are unknown. This feeling of the unknown is alluring to explorers. It offers academics a wealth of possibilities for further research. Despite its notoriety, the canyon still conceals innumerable secrets in shadowy crevices that might not be discovered for many decades. Rare crystals that were produced under special circumstances can be found in some rocks. Rare mineral crystals can occasionally be found in the Grand Canyon's rocks, in addition to fossils and sediments. Quartz, calcite, or even uncommon crystals like wolfenite and vanadinite were gradually deposited in some formations by groundwater carrying dissolved minerals. These minerals created tiny yet beautiful jewels inside cavities and fissures due to certain chemical and geological conditions. In sharp contrast to the subdued hues of the canyon walls, the colors span from translucent whites to flaming reds and vivid greens. Scientists examine these crystals to learn more about the chemical history of the rocks and the flow of groundwater through them, even though gathering is forbidden inside the national park. Every crystal records temperature, pressure, and chemical conditions from long ago, acting as if it were a natural experiment. Despite being small in comparison to the canyon's rocks, these fragile constructions highlight the minute intricacies concealed in a setting that is otherwise renowned for its overwhelming size. They serve as a reminder that beauty may be found on all scales, from the largest to the smallest. Sound illusions are produced by the echo cliffs. The echo cliffs, a remarkable escarpment known for its peculiar acoustic qualities, rise east of the Grand Canyon. This area produces echoes that appear to originate from unexpected directions due to the way sound bounces off the rocks. These effects have long been acknowledged by indigenous peoples who have incorporated them into their customs and legends. Visitors in the modern era encounter them when cries or shouts are distorted, giving the impression that several voices are responding. The effect is attributed by scientists to the height, angle, and spacing of the cliff, all of which reflect sound waves in intricate ways. These audio illusions serve as a reminder that landscapes are both acoustic and visual. Just as geology shapes rivers and ecosystems, it can also shape sound, as the echo cliffs show. They emphasize how the canyon area engages all of the senses. The size and intricacy of its stone formations captivate the senses of sight, hearing, and touch. During summer storms, the canyon is often struck by lightning. Dramatic summer thunderstorms are common in the Grand Canyon, particularly during the monsoon season. Over the plateau, towering clouds build up, causing lightning, wind, and rain to suddenly burst out. The rims and cliffs of the canyon are regularly struck, occasionally causing rockfalls or wildfires. On the rim, visitors frequently see breathtaking displays of bolts branching across the sky, illuminating the huge terrain in brief bursts. Here, scientists keep an eye on lightning patterns to learn more about how storms originate in rocky areas. These storms are both rejuvenating and damaging to habitats and species. Rain replenishes rivers and springs, while fires remove old plants. The storms serve as a reminder of nature's untamed force and are both frightening and inspirational to mankind. The canyon's size adds to the drama as thunder reverberates through its walls for kilometers. Witnessing lightning in the canyon is like witnessing energy being released on a stage composed of stone and time. Sometimes, when the river is still warm, snow covers the rims. The Grand Canyon exhibits unexpected contrasts in the winter. Snow frequently falls along the high ridges, casting a white blanket over the rocky overlooks and pine woodlands. Far below, however, the Colorado River still flows through a far warmer climate with milder daytime temperatures and no snowfall. Visitors may experience winter at the rim and spring-like conditions along the river in a single day due to this vertical disparity. It is particularly remarkable to see snow draped across crimson cliffs, an uncommon combination of alpine and desert scenery. These circumstances give researchers the chance to investigate microclimates and the ways in which ecosystems adjust to variations in elevation. The snowpack is essential for animals because it feeds springs and streams when it melts. Another reminder that the Grand Canyon condenses an incredible variety of habitats into a single vertical slice of the planet is this seasonal layering of climates. Hidden springs that flow for millennia can be found in the canyon. The Grand Canyon conceals springs that have been continuously flowing for thousands of years among its parched cliffs. These waters frequently surface from fissures where long-gone rainfall gradually seeped through rock strata before resurfacing. Water that has been underground for years or perhaps millennia and contains chemical traces of past climates is released by some springs. Within canyons, these concealed rivers produce verdant sanctuaries that are home to rare fauna, ferns, and willows. In an otherwise hostile environment, springs have long been revered as vital life supplies by indigenous peoples. Because they show how groundwater flows through intricate geological features, scientists study them for hydrology as well as ecology. Springs are delicate ecosystems that are susceptible to upstream groundwater exploitation, drought, and climate change. However, they seem amazing when they are found by chance. Water bubbling from stone, cold and clear. Evidence that life persists even in the harshest environments. Even deeper than the Grand Canyon is Tibet's Yaolong Tangpo Gorge. Despite its famous status, the Grand Canyon is not the world's deepest canyon. The Yaong Sanangpo Gorge in Tibet, which was sculpted by the powerful Brahmaputra River as it meanders over the eastern Himalayas, is the site of that distinction. This chasm dwarfs even the Grand Canyon's mile-deep walls at its deepest point, plunging over 3 miles from rim to river. A breathtakingly large panorama has been produced by the combination of strong river currents, heavy rains, and towering mountains. Because tectonic uplift and erosion worked together to build the gorge, scientists view it as a natural laboratory of extreme geology. It has long been an area of mystery to explorers, with parts so far away that detailed mapping was only recently done. It demonstrates the diversity of Earth's big chasms when compared to the Grand Canyon. Both depict time and power in action, yet they each convey a different tale of how landscapes can evoke strong feelings in viewers. The Culca Canyon in Peru descends twice as far as the Grand Canyon does. One of the world's deepest canyons, Culca Canyon, is located in southern Peru. Reaching more than 2 miles from rim to river, it plunges more than twice as deep as the Grand Canyon at its deepest points. Notwithstanding its size, Culca Canyon is not a desolate place. Small communities, terraced farms, and soaring Andean condors abound there. Indigenous peoples have been growing food on the steep hills for millennia, creating elaborate terraces that are still in use today. Hot springs bubble beside the Kawa River as it proceeds to cut deeper. The geology of the canyon is studied by scientists to learn how powerful rivers and quick uplift combine to sculpt such extraordinary depths. The contrast is apparent to tourists. In a setting of overwhelming natural strength, human culture flourishes. Kulka Canyon serves as evidence that enormous chasms are not just geological landmarks, but also places where people and the natural world interact. One of the world's deepest canyons is the Cotahuasi Canyon in Peru. Cotahuasi Canyon, another Peruvian wonder, is located next to Kulka Canyon. With a depth of over 2 miles, it is on par with Cauca as the world's deepest canyon. This gorge was formed by the Cotahuasi River cutting through volcanic rock that had been raised by tectonic pressures, creating towering cliffs that rise above the valley. In contrast to many deep canyons, Cotahuasi is still isolated and hasn't seen much extensive tourism. The top slopes are dotted with villages where people farm terraces in the manner of their forebears. Rare flora and animals that have adapted to the canyon's high walls and microclimates are among the unique ecosystems that have been protected by its seclusion. Cotahuasi provides scientists with an illustration of how erosion, tectonics, and volcanism interact to form extreme landscapes. It serves as a reminder that even in the modern world, there are still enormous natural wonders that are seldom recognized outside of their immediate areas. For those who journey there, it is a place of both majesty and seclusion. The Namibian desert is traversed by the Fish River Canyon. The Fish River Canyon forms a striking scar across the Namibian desert in southern Africa. The greatest canyon in Africa is over 100 meters long and up to half a mile deep. The Fish River Canyon is located in one of the driest areas on Earth, in contrast to the Grand Canyon's wooded edges. Its stony walls and desolate floor reveal a river that only occasionally flows, filling up with water during infrequent floods and remaining dry for the majority of the year. According to scientists, tectonic movements carved the canyon hundreds of millions of years ago, and river erosion further deepened it. Geologists, hikers, and explorers are drawn to it now because of its bleak beauty. The Fish River Canyon serves as an example of how ancient rivers can leave their mark on even the most arid deserts, creating incredibly large valleys in environments where life hardly survives. The Grand Canyon is smaller than Mexico's network of copper canyons. The Copper Canyon, also known as the Barranca del Cobre, is a huge network of 6 interconnecting canyons located in northern Mexico. Together, this network spans an area several times greater than the Grand Canyon and is both deeper and longer in certain locations. Rivers from the Sierra Madre Occidental have sculpted the Copper Canyon, which is a labyrinth of peaks, valleys, and cliffs. The greenish color of the lichen-covered rock, which gives the walls a coppery glow in the sun, is the source of its name. In contrast to the parched Grand Canyon, the Copper Canyon is home to waterfalls, lush woods, and centuries-old indigenous groups, such as the Raiyamuri people, who are known for their endurance racing traditions. Its ecosystems and geology are studied by scientists as models of canyon creation in a distinct environment and climate. Although the Grand Canyon is distinctive, it is not alone, as the Copper Canyon demonstrates. There are other chasms on Earth that are comparable to it in size and variety. The Himalayas are sliced through by Nepal's Kali Gandaki Gorge. Depending on how depth is defined, the Kali Gandaki Gorge in Nepal is frequently referred to as the world's deepest gorge. The striking contrast between the riverbed and the majestic Annapurna and Dhaulagiri Himalayan peaks, which soar more than 5 miles above it, is what makes it remarkable. For millions of years, the Kali Gandaki River has cut a course through these mountains, establishing a corridor that has functioned as a trade route between Tibet and India. High within its walls are fossils of extinct seashells, which serve as a reminder that the Himalayas were once the ocean floor. The gorge provides scientists with a large-scale example of the interaction between rivers and tectonic uplift. With communities, monasteries, and trails lining its slopes, it provides visitors with both geological drama and cultural richness. The Gandaki Gorge is a location where the histories of nature and humanity converge. The high mountains of Pakistan are carved by the Indus Gorge. The Indus River cuts a breathtaking valley through the Himalayan and Karakoram ranges in northern Pakistan. Below some of the highest peaks, such as Manga Parbat, which rises more than 26,000 feet, is one of the world's deepest gorges. As the earth rises and the water cuts deeper and deeper, the Indus Gorge shows the tremendous erosive strength of a river combined with rapid tectonic uplift. It is one of the most striking examples of combined river and mountain evolution that scientists investigate. The gorge has long been used by the local people as a route for trade and cultural exchange through difficult terrain. It is hard to understand its immensity. More vertical relief is produced by the difference between the riverbed and the summits than practically anywhere else on Earth. The biggest canyons on Earth can be found in the center of the tallest mountains as well as in deserts, as the Indus Gorge serves as a reminder. The deepest canyon in Europe is the Tara River Canyon in Montenegro. The Tara River formed a valley more than 4,000 feet deep in Montenegro, making it the deepest canyon in Europe. The UNESCO World Heritage Site Durmitor National Park is traversed by the Tara Canyon, which is well known for its crystal-clear blue waters. An ecosystem rich in biodiversity is created by the pine and seashore woods that cover its high cliffs. Since rapids take passengers past tall stone cliffs, rafting the Tara River has become a well-known activity. In addition to serving as a haven for endangered animals, scientists use the canyon as a model to study karst landscapes, in which limestone dissolves into sinkholes and caverns. The Tara Canyon is still a remarkably untamed location that serves as a reminder of Europe's wild geological history, even though many of the continent's landscapes have been significantly influenced by human activity. It proudly stands as Europe's Grand Canyon analogue, and its depth and beauty merit its comparison to the world's Great Canyons. Europe's Grand Canyon is the name given to France's Verdon Gorge. Despite being much smaller in size, the Verdon Gorge in southern France is frequently referred to as Europe's Grand Canyon. Its beauty more than makes up for its lack of size. The Verdon River forms a remarkable tunnel of emerald water and whitish stone as it rushes over limestone cliffs that peak at about 2,000 feet. The gorge is well known for its hue. Glacial minerals give the river its turquoise color, which contrasts sharply with the nearby cliffs. While experts examine its karst formations and distinctive ecosystems, climbers, kayakers, and hikers swarm its cliffs. The Verdon Gorge, which combines natural beauty with cultural legacy, is located in a heavily populated area, in contrast to the remote grandeur of the Grand Canyon. Although its name may be a comparison, its personality is distinct, demonstrating how the force of water has molded magnificent landscapes all throughout the world. South Africa's Blyde River Canyon is verdant and lush. The Blyde River Canyon in South Africa is remarkably different from the majority of the world's Great Canyons, which are found in deserts. One of the world's largest green canyons, it is covered in subtropical vegetation. The Three Rondells and God's Window are two examples of the striking escarpments formed by the Blyde River winding through red sandstone and quartzite cliffs. Waterfalls flow into the gorge, nourishing the verdant forests that are home to a variety of animals, including primates and raptors. Because the canyon is a part of the Drakensberg Escarpment, a region rich in biodiversity and geology, scientists cherish it. The juxtaposition of tall cliffs and lush vegetation is nearly unreal to tourists. Instead of a canyon filled with bleak emptiness, it is bursting with life. The variety of canyon scenery found throughout the world is exemplified by the Blyde River Canyon. Not all of them are desolate deserts. Some are dynamic living systems in which vegetation and water coexist in breathtaking harmony. A tangle of beams of light illuminates Arizona's Antelope Canyon. One of the most photographed slot canyons in the world is Antelope Canyon, which is situated on Navajo property in northern Arizona. Antelope Canyon is tiny and immaculate, with smooth sandstone walls sculpted by flash floods over millions of years, in contrast to the Grand Canyon's immense expanse. At midday, shafts of dazzling light appear to dance over the walls as sunlight filters through small gaps. The stone itself is a whirl of orange, purple, and red that has been polished into elegant, nearly liquid-like shapes. Antelope Canyon is an ideal place for geologists to investigate how water sculpted stone in small areas, creating elegant passageways with unexpected force explosions. It seems unearthly to tourists, a secret cathedral of light and stone. Grandeur is not always about size, as this canyon shows. At times, it involves closeness, quiet, and the way light plays in areas that have been shaped over time. Bryce Canyon is a labyrinth of stone towers rather than a canyon. Utah's Bryce Canyon isn't actually a canyon, despite its name. Rather, it is a collection of enormous natural amphitheaters that are ringed with hoodoos, which are tall stone spires. The process of frost wedging, in which water seeps into fissures, freezes, and expands, progressively fracturing the rock, produced these formations. The sandstone was shaped into thin towers and complex patterns by innumerable rounds of freezing and thawing throughout time. The end effect is a bizarre scene that resembles a stone city that stretches to the horizon. Bryce provides scientists with a striking example of how erosion, independent of rivers, can shape land patterns. It seems surreal to tourists, as if they are strolling among the remains of a vanished society. In actuality, the canyon serves as a reminder that names can be deceptive. The spectacle of Earth's inventiveness, which is displayed in hundreds of fragile structures rising against the sky, is what counts. Towers of Zion Canyon, with walls of vertical sandstone. One of the world's most striking river-carved canyons is Utah's Zion Canyon. Even though the Virgin River is little, it has carved through Navajo sandstone layers for millions of years, creating cliffs that rise more than 2,000 feet above the valley floor. Zion is lush with cottonwood trees, hanging gardens, and waterfalls clinging to its cliffs, in contrast to the Grand Canyon's arid plains. A striking image is produced by the contrast between the vivid vegetation and the steep red cliffs. Zion is studied by scientists as an example of how, given enough time, even tiny rivers can sculpt vast landscapes. Hikers can climb above the cliffs or wade straight through the river between tall walls on trails like Angel's Landing or the Narrows, which provide truly remarkable experiences. Zion Canyon is evidence that grandeur may be found in the drama of vertical stone and the tenacity of water, in addition to depth and scale. Ancient palm woods can be found in Australia's Kings Canyon. Kings Canyon, a gorge sculpted into layers of red sandstone that sparkle under the desert sun, is located in Australia's Northern Territory. Although the canyon is remarkable in and of itself, the ancient palm trees that flourish there are what really set it apart. As direct ancestors of plants that flourished over 100 million years ago, these cycads are living fossils. In this protected grotto, where water gathers and temperatures are lower than in the surrounding desert, they are able to thrive. Kings Canyon is a special haven for scientists that protects archaic wildlife. With tales and customs derived from the land, it holds great cultural value for Indigenous Australians. A canyon that is not only geologically stunning but also biologically and spiritually vibrant is experienced by visitors who follow the rim trails or descend into the Garden of Eden, where lakes and palm trees form an oasis. The Grand Canyon of the Pacific is the name given to Hawaii's Waimea Canyon. Canyon is located in Hawaii on the island of Kauai, often referred to as the Pacific's Grand Canyon. Waimea is just as magnificent as its Arizona sister, despite being smaller in scope, more than 3,000 feet deep and 10 miles long. Its striking coloring is what makes it unique. Cliffs of vivid reds, greens, and purples are formed by layers of volcanic rock that have been worn by tropical rainfall. Rich flora that clings to terraces and valleys is fed by waterfalls that cascade from its cliffs. Waimea Canyon was created by the collapse of a huge shield volcano, which was then eroded deeper rather than by tectonic uplift. It shows scientists how volcanic activity and tropical weathering interact. In contrast to the arid landscapes most commonly found in large canyons across the globe, it provides tourists with a glimpse of canyon splendor in a tropical setting, complete with vivid hues and tumbling streams. The gorge's emerald waters have earned it notoriety. Known as one of Europe's most picturesque river basins, the Douva Gorge winds for 15 miles between white limestone cliffs in southeast France. Its walls are around 2,000 feet high. The Verdun River itself, with its green and turquoise waters, is the most remarkable feature, though. Glacial minerals suspended in the water are the source of this peculiar color, which scatters sunlight in dazzling hues. Caves, cliffs, and tall walls were left behind as the river sliced through the limestone plateau over millions of years, creating the canyon. It is regarded by scientists as a quintessential case of karst erosion, in which water dissolves rock to create underground passageways in addition to cupping valleys. The gorge offers visitors both cultural diversity and geological drama. The gorge, which is surrounded by fields and settlements, is evidence that canyons are not merely huge land scars, but rather stunning locations sculpted by water, light, and chemistry. Some of the sharpest cliffs may be seen in the Gunnison's Black Canyon. The Black Canyon of the Gunnison, a gorge renowned for its striking steepness, is located in western Colorado. The Black Canyon is vertical and tight, with cliffs that drop more than 2,000 feet in some areas, in contrast to the Grand Canyon's expansive stretches. The canyon floor is only 40 feet across at its narrowest, which accentuates the cliff's formidable appearance. Cutting through strong metamorphic rock at one of the quickest rates of erosion ever recorded in North America, the Gunnison River sculpted this canyon with remarkable rapidity. Because sunlight only reaches the canyon's bottom for a few minutes each day, the canyon appears gloomy, hence its name. In order to comprehend how rivers erode some of the hardest rock on the planet, scientists investigate it. It is both stunning and frightening to tourists. A canyon that resembles a rift in the earth itself rather than an open landscape. Rare animals can be found in Crete's Samaria Gorge. The Samaria Gorge is a striking gorge that stretches more than 10 meters through the White Mountains on the Greek island of Crete. Its walls form a passage of cliffs and trees as they rise more than 2,000 feet. In contrast to many desert valleys, Samaria is lush and vibrant. Along with numerous indigenous plants and birds, it is home to the tree cry, a rare kind of wild goat that is only found on Crete. The gorge is regarded by scientists as a hotspot for biodiversity, where isolation has fostered the growth of rare species. Due to its centuries-long use as a haven during invasions and conflicts, the gorge also has cultural history. Today, it is a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve and a protected national park. One of the most amazing valleys in Europe, Samaria offers hikers not only geological beauty, but also opportunities to see nature and history. The Grand Canyon is smaller than Australia's Cape Valley. The Kapiti Valley in Australia is wider than the Grand Canyon, which is renowned for its depth. The world's widest canyon is an enormous sandstone valley in New South Wales, which is almost 30 meters across. With enormous escarpments and mesas rising above forests and grasslands, the Kapi Valley is more open than Arizona's high cliffs. Home to numerous species, including the endangered Haniata regent, it is also one of Australia's most significant bird habitats. Because of the sandstone plateau's erosion, the valley's ecosystems and geological past are of interest to scientists. The scale may be startling to visitors. The expanse feels limitless from the edge, more akin to a deserted planet than a canyon. With vistas that extend beyond the horizon, the Kapi Valley demonstrates that canyon grandeur is about both breadth and depth. There are thousands of petroglyphs in Utah's 9-mile canyon. The 9-millimeter canyon in Utah is sometimes referred to as the longest art gallery in the world. It is almost 40 miles long and is home to thousands of pictographs and petroglyphs made over ages by indigenous peoples. Images of bison, hunters, spirals, and abstract patterns are etched or painted into the stone of the canyon walls. Some are almost 2,000 years old and provide insights on the beliefs and way of life of the Fremont and other peoples. The canyon's cultural diversity is remarkable, despite its lack of depth and grandeur compared to the Grand Canyon. In order to comprehend communication, spirituality, and day-to-day existence in ancient societies, archaeologists investigate the art. For contemporary tourists, traversing the 9mm canyon is akin to entering a museum where natural rock has been sculpted by human hands. It proves that canyons are both natural beauty and cultural landscapes, where people have shaped them over thousands of years. Not all canyons are formed by rivers. Some are formed by glaciers. Although rivers often carve canyons, glaciers can also form enormous valleys. Massive ice rivers scrape and tear away stone as they gently flow downwards, grinding against bedrock. In contrast to the tiny V-shaped canyons created by rivers, this mechanism creates wide U-shaped valleys over thousands of years. The Yosemite Valley in California and the fjords of Norway are well-known examples, where glacial erosion produced some of the world's most striking vistas. To learn more about how ice shapes continents, scientists investigate these glacial canyons. The change is obvious to visitors. The voids left by steep cliffs, level valley floors, and frequent lakes or rivers are filled in. These frozen canyons demonstrate that erosion is not just a problem in liquid water. Land can be massively sculpted by frozen water, creating valleys that are as magnificent as any gorge formed by a river. The ocean floor is carved by underwater canyons. Canyons are not just found on land. Massive submarine canyons slicing into continental shelves and slopes can be found beneath the ocean. Although they are hidden from view beneath thousands of feet of water, these underwater valleys can be just as massive as those on land. Rivers that originally ran when sea levels were lower, strong underwater landslides of sediment, and turbidity currents have all sculpted them. Organic matter is transported from coastal regions into the deep sea by submarine canyons, which serve as nutrient highways. As a result, they are centers for biodiversity, sustaining everything from whales to plankton. Though few will ever see them up close, scientists use sonar and submersibles to investigate them, and the results show landscapes that are just as stunning as the Grand Canyon. Submarine canyons serve as a reminder that the deepest abysses on Earth are found in the ocean's secret depths, where they have a profound impact on marine life on a global scale. In terms of size, the Monterey Canyon beneath the water is comparable to the Grand Canyon. One of the world's largest undersea canyons, Monterey Canyon, is located just off the coast of California. It starts close to Monterey Bay's beach and descends more than 2 miles to the Pacific Ocean floor. Though completely submerged, it is comparable in scale to the Grand Canyon. Using remotely controlled vehicles, scientists investigate Monterey Canyon, uncovering cliffs, valleys, and deposits sculpted by underwater currents and landslides. The canyon is an oasis for marine life because it serves as a route for nutrients to enter the deep sea. Its depths are home to octopuses, fish, squid, deep-sea corals, and other species that science has yet to discover. Monterey Canyon has grown to be one of the most researched underwater canyons because of its nearshore accessibility, which aids researchers in their understanding of deep-sea ecosystems as well as geology. It demonstrates that Earth has landscapes as magnificent as those found on land, even beneath the waves. On other worlds, such as Mars, canyons can form. Earth is not the only planet with canyons. Massive canyons have been discovered on Mars, in particular by space missions. Tectonic activity, lava flows, and ancient water created chasms that are much bigger than anything on Earth. The presence of flowing rivers and possibly even seas on the red planet is demonstrated by these Martian canyons. In order to reconstruct Mars' climate history and look for indications of habitability, scientists investigate them. The existence of canyons outside of Earth proves that tectonics and erosion are universal geological phenomena. They happen anywhere there is a solid crust, gravity and change-causing energy on planets and moons. For us, the thought of standing on another planet and gazing across a canyon as big as any on Earth is exhilarating. Canyons are celestial as well as terrestrial wonders. Remind us that the solar system's planetary environments change in remarkably comparable ways. The Grand Canyon is 10 times shorter than Valles Marineris on Mars. Valles Marineris is a massive chasm on Mars that is the most magnificent canyon in the solar system. It is roughly 10 times longer and up to 4 times deeper than the Grand Canyon, spanning over 2,500 meters. Its enormity is nearly unfathomable. It is big enough to cover the whole United States. According to scientists, it was created by tectonic forces that split the Martian crust, which was then extended by lava flows, landslides, and possibly even ancient rivers. Valles Marineris is a goldmine of information for planetary scientists, holding hints about the geological history of Mars and the processes that sculpted its surface. It is mind-blowing to imagine standing on its edge and gazing across a gap so wide that it vanishes into the distance. The Grand Canyon is Earth's masterpiece, but the universe itself has even more magnificent vistas, as Valles Marineris reminds us. Canyons of liquid methane might exist on Titan, Saturn's moon. Titan, the moon of Saturn, is one of the solar system's most peculiar worlds. It is shrouded in a dense orange mist, concealing lakes, rivers, and even canyons formed by liquid ethane and methane rather than water. The Cassini spacecraft's radar photos showed extensive branching valleys that feed into Titan's hydrocarbon seas. Similar to Earth's river canyons, these canyons are hundreds of feet deep and yet contain liquid. Titan provides scientists with a peek at how well-known processes might manifest in chemistry that is entirely different. It shows that canyons can form whenever a liquid flows across solid ground under gravity, not just as a result of water erosion. By demonstrating that even on icy moons distant from the sun, landscapes resemble the well-known shapes of valleys, rivers, and cliffs, Titan's canyons broaden our perspective on what is conceivable. Local wind and weather systems can be influenced by canyons. Canyons are atmospheric as well as geological phenomena. They provide distinct temperature gradients, wind patterns, and microclimates due to their enormous walls and depths. For instance, the Grand Canyon undergoes daily cycles in which warm air rises to the rim and cool air falls at night, creating river-level inversions. During the day, storms may form along rims before falling into depths, and winds may speed through small tunnels. Ecosystems, plant growth, and even human perceptions of risk and comfort are impacted by these effects. Canyons all around the world, from tropical valleys to arid gorges, exhibit similar behaviors. In order to comprehend how topography affects weather at both the local and regional levels, scientists investigate them. These conditions are directly perceived by tourists: unexpected gusts, abrupt changes in temperature, and storms that seem to come out of nowhere. Canyons serve as a living example of the unbreakable interaction between atmosphere and terrain, with each continuously influencing the other. Canyon echoes aid in the study of sound physics by scientists. Canyons serve as acoustic laboratories by nature. Unusual reflections of sound from their walls produce distortions, echoes, and reverberations. These environments are used by scientists to investigate how sound waves move across intricate surroundings. For instance, a shout may be delayed, reverberated, and doubled in the Grand Canyon. Echoes can be harsh and quick in Antelope and other tiny slot canyons. In addition to geology, these natural theaters aid researchers in understanding sonar architecture and communication applications. Because of their unique acoustics, indigenous peoples frequently used canyon acoustics in ceremonies. Visitors may find the impact to be stunning and shocking. Instruments echoing in unexpected harmonies, voices magnified. Sound in a canyon serves as a reminder that the ears are just as important as the sight when it comes to experiencing sceneries. We may hear the unseen conversation between stone and air in their echoes, a concert of nature molded by rock walls. Artists, poets, and dreamers from many walks of life are inspired by canyons. Canyons have captivated the imaginations of poets, artists, and tourists throughout history. They are ideal topics for artistic expression because of their beauty, mystery, and immensity. Because they see canyons as hallowed places with deep significance, indigenous civilizations have long incorporated them into their myths, songs, and customs. The play of light across canyon walls has been shown by painters in more recent times. Photographers have tried to frame its colors and forms, while writers have described the overwhelming sense of scale. The landscapes that scientists study frequently inspire them to pose more profound queries about time and change. Canyons are symbols of perseverance, sculpted by forces beyond human timescales, serving as reminders of strength and endurance. For those who dream, they symbolize explorations of the soil, history, and the imagination itself. Canyons serve as a reminder that art and science frequently collide in awe in all cultures. We are reminded of our smallness in a huge world when we explore canyons. Entering a canyon means facing scale in all its ferocity. Overhead, towering walls rise, sculpted by forces beyond human control over millions of years. Regardless of the footfall on their borders, rivers flow at the bottom. In these settings, our own lives and timelines seem ephemeral in comparison to the timeless qualities of stone and water. However, this feeling of insignificance is not waning. It is vast, beckoning humility and wonder. Canyons are studied by scientists because of the information they provide. However, they are also sought after by tourists and explorers for perspective, as a reminder that we are only a small portion of the huge and ancient Earth. Canyons are symbols of time, change, and perseverance, whether they are found in Arizona, Tibet, Peru, or even on far-off Mars. They serve as a reminder of our place in the cosmos, small but full of surprise. Take a moment to reflect on the size of these canyons as our journey draws to a close. We have traversed environments sculpted by time, water, ice, and even methane rivers on faraway moons, from the depths of the Grand Canyon to the secret valleys of faraway worlds. Every canyon has a unique tale to tell about perseverance, transformation, and the silent force that molds planets over millions of years. Exploring them serves as a reminder of both the vastness of nature and our own position within it. Yes, it's small, but never unimportant. As witnesses, we have the capacity to absorb knowledge, ponder, and remember these tales. Please feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment below if you liked this peaceful excursion. One drowsy soul at a time, it guides others to this place as well. Let the day go by for the time being. Shut your eyes, take a deep breath, and relax while the rivers of time continue to patiently shape the world in solitude. Good night.